Alright, what's up everybody? So I'm going to do my weekly review here. Didn't take any trades today. Actually, I will go over some stuff though that I was seeing today. So I tried to get into EFX here. Was looking at it mainly on the ones, I guess you could say. I was trying to get a VWAP bounce here. I saw this candle come in here as soon as the line was catching up, and I figured this would be a pretty good spot to get in. Put in an order at 75 on this candle here. I don't believe it ever reached it. No, it didn't. So I ended up just moving it up, bumping it up a nickel each time, trying to catch it on its way up, but just could never get filled, so ended up missing out on the big move here. Could have been a pretty good trade on this one. I was only going to take 50 shares on it because the way it was moving, what's this, 84 to 37, I mean, this was about 50 cents, so if it did break below VWAP, I'm always looking at the worst case scenario. If it moved, 50 something cents against me, I didn't want it to be, anything bigger than a $50 loser, so, but obviously made the nice move. Later in the day, it ended up making another wedge here. Kind of a small wedge, but again, same time, you can see the bounced off of the VWAP again and made another move, and at the same time, the 9 EMA on the 5s caught up. Ended up being a very nice trade. I saw AZN here. You can kind of see the wedge already. Made another move. Only problem is I never clicked the button. Nothing ever looked perfect enough for me to take it. Even though now I had another meeting with my mentor, and we're talking about the 5s always override the 1s. So at the time I was looking at the same with that EFX trade for the wedges anyway. You can see all the moving averages are above on the 1s. So I mean, that's just, it's more resistance that we have to break through, but at the same time, it's bouncing off of this 5 because the 5's bigger time frame, it's more powerful, so it means more for this to, for this pattern to play out, as opposed to just looking at the 1s thinking about this is just resistance that I didn't want to take or something. I also looked at KMX here. You see it drew the wedge here. This is a very significant level up here because if you go all the way back to a while ago, you can see that at the same time this level over here was acting as pretty big resistance, so that combined with the wedge on the 5s and the 1s here made for a pretty nice move coming back all the way to VWAP. See, it tagged VWAP and came right back up and then closed just right at the 9. So I mean, that could have been a pretty good trade. If I did take it, I probably would have tried to exit around here somewhere, just because that 9 catching up, I know you can see on the other ones it's always acting as resistance. So, but going back to the week in total, I believe it was Monday, my first day back trading under this new style that I'm going for. Really ended up taking Tiva here for a short. Looks like I got in at 97, got out at 78, so I let it go about 8 cents against me. But this number's a little off because whenever it hits that max favorable, I usually don't have that full size. So this max P&L here really isn't 140. It's probably more something like maybe 120 at a max. But we'll get into it here. So if I was taking around 18, this is right about here. Definitely a point of, I guess at this time it would have been resistance, because I remember I was catching it back up on that VWAP bounce there. So I'm trying to get in on a limit order, and I just got filled for 500 shares. Stop loss definitely around this 18, so 500. I seriously doubt this thing would run, 10 cents against me for a $50 loser, because it would have to break through all of this stuff. So I mean, I probably could have taken a bigger size on this one, gotten away with it pretty good here. Might be even faster. I was in this trade for, I think it was like something like, okay, now we're really moving. Though the video is not doing anything. What happened? Alright, maybe that's a little too fast. it's not loading right. No, I'll just skip around on it. So definitely looking at it here, profit target at the low of day, so trying to make 17, really risking like a max of 10 cents. But I mean, even if it broke something, it would have to get above this 18, which this, with all this stuff in here, that's a huge level for it to try and break out of. So definitely a good trade on this one. Though one thing that I do want to do is think about my case points here. I have a system where I look at all the moving averages, and as well as patterns and Fibonacci and trend lines, things like that, to be in the favor. So I need to edit this really quick here. I need to go back to the daily. There it was. Come on. Okay, so we got the daily here. There are two moving averages that are not in my favor. I actually didn't notice this. That 9 is probably where the low of day is, so that is definitely where my profit target was. So there we have two moving averages in my favor, and then we've got all four of them in my favor, so that's 6. We got the pattern is 7. The daily pattern, I guess you could say the daily pattern is also in effect. So what is that then? So that was 6, 7, 8. I don't think I performed a fib on this one, but the trend lines are in my favor. I can see this trend line here would still be, so that's 6, 8. So this is going to be an 11. So I have these case points, and out of 15, I like to add them up here and just give it a number, so that later on, whenever I get a ton more trades here, I can really go into more detail on, if this has, 15, if it meets all 15 points, then, hopefully the win percentage obviously is something crazy like 100%, because, everything is in my favor. But I just want to see the numbers and everything. So anyway, back to this. Alright, yeah, I remember it made that move really quickly. And it's at this pivot point now. I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for any pullback, and there it was. Took half off, lock it in $43, and then I really just want to let the rest ride and see what happens with it. Starts going against me, still holding, hasn't really done anything wrong. I guess the only bad thing about a stock moving that quickly like that is it takes a while for the EMAs to catch up, because the EMA is where my stop price is. And it looks like it moved again. I took some more profit. I took more off at the 80. I think I was just kind of watching it for a while I was looking at other stocks. See, it's retesting the lows again. Looking at it on the ones. If it bounces, I definitely want to be taking more profit. Yeah, it looks like I did, and then I just got the last half. So definitely a good trade. I took my profit, took half off right where I should have taken half off. Followed the pattern. Definitely a high probability setup because it was bouncing off the VWAP, and then we got everything else above it. Daily, everything was in my favor. The only thing that I can't remember that if I checked or not was the Fibonacci's. I don't think that I did. Yeah, looking for a bunch of green or something crazy. So that was that trade. Definitely a good trade. And then we got ALNY. So what happened on ALNY? Took it on Wednesday, 30 shares. I remember this was a huge mover, and I missed a huge move later in the day. I traded this stuff around the low hundreds, and I think at the end of the day, this thing closed at like 115 or something crazy. So I was risking $1.50 off of 30 shares here. This was the trade where I based my stop off of a recent low level instead of a moving average or something crazy like that. I got it at the perfect time because it immediately ran in my favor. I mean, on the 5s, there's nothing in the way. Or I think the stock was at its all-time high. Okay, performed a fib on this one. Okay, not at its all-time high, but you see, pretty much gapped into this area. Didn't matter at all. So the downtrend's now broken because it's that 618 level. Next stop is obviously this 109 area and the trend line, because just because this trend line here, it should be pretty significant, but obviously it wasn't, because later in the day it moved well through that. So the moving averages are all in my favor, so that's 4 points. The moving averages on the 5s are still on my points, so that's 8. The pattern was good. I think I labeled this as a bull flag. Oops. Yeah, bull flag there. So pattern on the daily isn't really bullish or bearish, I guess. I mean, I guess it's kind of breaking out of that. I don't know. Can't count it. So there's 8, there's 9, 10, 11, and then trend lines on the daily. Not really in my favor, so that's still 11. Trend lines intraday, yeah, still in my favor. Okay, so there's 12. Okay, so we got 12 points on this one. The wrong button. Alright, so I'm locked in. Profit target, I'm pretty sure I used a fib extension on this one to figure out a good profit target, because I know I was thinking about 105. So on the ones, it came back and it's testing the 9. Or what I really should have done here is that whenever I entered on right about here, I should have made my stop this 20, because if it's a bull flag and it's moving the way that it is, I should have recognized that at some point this thing is going to pull back and catch up with the 20 or even the 9. But the 9 is too tight, but the 20 could have been a good spot, because I mean it rode this 20 this whole time here. Or no, I entered over here, I didn't enter over there. This is just the pullback off of that bear flag. So yeah, the 20 would have been the perfect spot, because you can see it's holding on to it perfectly here. And then we just gotta see if it tests it or not. And it doesn't at all, so nothing I want to check. I got in at 70, and this 20 is there, so I probably could have taken, 50 shares at a minimum. I mean, 100 shares would be pushing it, so that's I probably could have doubled my size. 60 or 75 shares is really what I should have been looking at. So I probably could have doubled my profit. Alright, so it's curving off the 9. Coming back still, and this is where I do that extension to see that 109 is still where the ultimate target would be, but the 50 again is definitely going to be a big level. So if it got up to anywhere near that point, struggling to break out of 105, and then it did. And then I believe it's at this point where I recognize that it's starting to make another pattern here, because you can kind of see the wedge is forming here. It's kind of starting to lose its volume. It's thinning out a little bit. It's still struggling to make any big moves up. And then you can see I draw that wedge. And then it's kind of cool. As soon as I click that sell all button, just because I see it's got a doji there, and there was another doji there, and then now it's starting to touch the 9 again. I click the button, and then you see it drops 10 cents, and then it drops another 20 cents. So in my mind, I exited at just about the right time, but same point here, you know, it never broke that 20, never closed below that 20. I came back again later and looked at it, and it ended up getting, yeah, you can see that it bounced right off of it, bounced off that 20 and still moved up. And then much later in the day here, finally did that 104.80. So all in all, I probably got out at the right point, got out right where I wanted to based on that 20. So not a bad trade. The only thing that would have changed about it is just my size, and other than that, that's all there really was to it. So on the week, I got 132 in winners, spent $10 in commissions, so 122 on the week. It's really my first week coming back, trading under the new mindset with new rules and new strategies and everything. Today was a pretty big eye-opener because I was seeing a ton of stuff that was going on. I just didn't take any trades because I kind of got mixed up on those the 1 moving averages and then the 5 moving averages, and you know, which is more powerful, which makes the case better and whatnot. So definitely the 5 is obviously the best. Pretty excited for next week though. Gotta start practicing, make sure I'm taking my trades, getting back to work. I'm definitely really excited to start, you know, because now I understand the whole keeping your risks small while keeping your winners huge, you know. You can see I only risking 4 cents, and in this case it should have been better, but at the same time, compared to the cent return, well, what the cent return could have been anyway, you know, that's how you keep your risks small, is you know, you base it off of your technical levels, and you just go from there. So that's all I got for today. I will definitely be back on Monday. Looking forward to trading again. Thanks for watching.